I have a friend complaint. This happens so many times. Maybe we should start a new category. And the thing is, I hate this. I hate to be complaining about people, especially friends. I realize that it looks really bad. So I am self-aware, but maybe this is what I need. Maybe I need a channel to rant about people. Honestly, I don't feel like a lot of people get me. So this happens to me with most people, having misunderstandings and getting into situations where I am suffering and just having such I made some notes because I want to narrate to you exactly what happened yesterday. I had a situation. I have a kombucha to get us through this. I'm just going to tell you exactly what happened in my best objective persona, and you're going to tell me what you think, because actually I also think this could be a great sort of advice column. I think this happens to a lot of women, and this is all linked to being a people pleaser. I thought I was over this, but it turns out there are still situations that are slightly more complicated than a one-to-one interaction, and I don't know how to behave. Like, I just really did not know what I was supposed to do yesterday, because I really don't think that yesterday was my problem. I've told this to a few people. My therapist was very understanding, I guess because she knows me and she kind of, well, she understands peculiarities. Then I told my mom and she just really didn't understand. She's like, oh, you're too sensitive, whatever. Bottom line, I don't want to have friends that don't accept me for who I am. I realize that this could turn very dark because a lot of people are saying this these days, and in the end it's like, bottom line, you can't have any friends because it's really hard to find people that truly understand you. But oh my god, at least pretend to, at least don't interfere. At least if I tell you that one thing is really important for me, at least accept that. I don't think I'm being that difficult. There's two things for me that are really, really hard. I don't talk about them all the time, but I tell all my friends. A couple of health issues that makes things difficult for me. For example, walking. I have a lot of anxiety, so I need to do yoga every day. So they have to understand that I need to be able to, like, whatever plans we do, I need to have time to do yoga. So like, I can't do a 16-hour plan usually. Also, because I'm quite introverted, I don't really want to be out for 16 hours either. I have a time limit. So there's things which for me are very reasonable, but obviously people have a really big problem with them. Also, I've had a lot of eating disorders, some health related, some like mental related. I can go into all of these things at another time. So I struggle around food, so I don't generally like to plan lunches or things like that, and I always say no when they plan them, and when they surprise me with them, I don't like it. Again, that's something that people just will never understand, will never be compassionate about. So these three things. Oh, and I can't drive because I have an eye problem, so I can't drive. I don't have a license. Long story. Anyway, I'm just asking people to they don't need to like it. I'm not asking them to do anything, but it's just like, if you do a plan with me and I'm being honest and I'm telling you up to where I can go, like how much I can give you up to here, because from this line onwards, I am gonna start feeling really, really bad. Like, please don't do this. I think I have a lot to give, but somehow they always want me to give the things that I can't give. And I think we need to be aware of what we can give and be able to communicate what we can't, and people need to freaking accept it. I just don't know what's the answer, what's the solution, how to get around this, but why is it so hard for people to understand that I might have a limit and that I don't want to cross it? And there's just so many other things, so many other possibilities that I can do. It's just this one thing, like, what do you care? If you want to have an Indian meal, maybe I want to bring my own food. How does that affect negatively? Why is that just like mind blown? It's just like, come on, it's not that hard. I have preferences in that sort of thing. Anyway, back to yesterday, because a lot of these things are gonna come up in yesterday's saga. Also, I don't drink alcohol. See, I am quite a peculiar person. But I also have really good points, really positive points. I know a lot of people, I'm very social, I'm very artistic, I'm a great entertainer. I can introduce you to literally everyone. I know everyone. People really value me and appreciate me and respect me. I'm not such a bad cat. Okay, so this is what happened. Let me give you a bit of a background information. So my friend, I'm not gonna give you any names, it's just better if I don't. This friend, she has been saying for a while, oh, we should go to this temple that's near my house, it's a really nice walk, you know, it's just a nice day out in nature. And we have been talking about it for like a year. Oh, Buddhist temple, it's a Buddhist temple, right? And I've been really into Buddhism for, you know, since 2006. I've studied many kinds of Buddhism. I went to Italy to do a retreat. Like, I'm really into it. So I was like, oh my God, what a beautiful plan. We'll go to hers. She lives in West London, so there's a lot of greenery there. Seemed like a great idea. And we've been telling a few friends about it. Like, I have a friend that wanted to come. Then recently another friend wanted to come. And this recent friend that wanted to go out with us for a day, he has a car. And he always drives because he says he loves to drive, he needs to drive. He's always like calling me, oh, I just need to get out, like go for a drive. Okay, so we set up a day where, like, me and my girlfriend were both in our 30s, and this other male friend who offered to drive, well, not offered, we haven't gotten there yet, sorry. This other friend who has a car and is driving, he's in his 60s, so a bit of a difference there. He's an artist, like, I really respected him, past. And me and my friend are like, let's do it on Easter Monday. My friend, whose house is near this temple, says, well, I'm busy in the morning, but let's do it in the afternoon. I'm like, weird, but okay. So I say to the other friend that's driving, hey, it's Easter Monday, there's no transport near my house because there's never any trains near my house whenever it's a holiday. So if you're driving, he's like, yeah, I'm driving. I'm like, okay, if you're driving, can you pick me up on the way? It's not completely on the way, but it's also not out of the way. It's basically, instead of him going diagonally up, he has to come up and then left. So it's a little bit of a circle, but it's not like he's going the other way and coming back. So anyway, he says, sure, of course, I'll pick you up. All right, so we say, okay, let's set off at 1:30 because she said afternoon, so I'm just gonna assume 1:30, it's gonna be fine. That night still, my other friend, another girlfriend, she texts me, what are you doing tomorrow? Do you wanna go to yoga? I'm like, I'd love to, but actually we're gonna go to this Buddhist temple. She's also really into Buddhism. Come with us. I'm like, we're gonna meet at my friend's house, girlfriend's. Can you get there? Do you have transport? She's like, yes. I'm like, okay, so let's meet at her house and we will all walk from there. Next day comes, I'm meeting my guy friend at 1:30, right? I confirm in the morning, I'm like, do you still want to do this? Because I know that he's very much a last minute kind of guy where sometimes he wakes up on the wrong foot and then he doesn't want to. So I'm like, are you okay for today? Are we on? He says, yes, let's do it. 1:30. 1:30 comes around, I'm completely ready. I have rushed because I didn't sleep the night before. I've just been having the worst case of insomnia. Just had a lot going on. But I had my alarm, put on my alarm. I wake up to my girlfriend's text saying at 8 a.m., hey, do you want to go somewhere else instead? I see it's at 11, right? And I'm like, no, we made this plan. We're 4 people. Let's just stick to the plan. She's like, okay, no rush, no worries, there's no rush. She's totally cool about anything. Anyway, 1:30 comes around. I'm ready to go downstairs. My friend knows where I live. And he, I don't know anything from him. So I call him. I'm like, hey, are you nearby? Like, where are you? And I couldn't really hear him. It was breaking up a lot. And I hear something minutes. And I'm like, 10 minutes? He's like, 5 minutes or 2 minutes. He's like, I'm very close. I'm like, okay, I'll come downstairs. That's what I heard. I got out of the house, and my house, there's 2 entrances, one in each side of a corner. So I stand on the corner because from that corner I can see the cars that are coming anyway. Like any car that comes to pick me up has to come from the street that I'm watching. Now I'll tell you what happened afterwards, but I'm gonna tell you just from my perspective. I wait there in the corner for over 10 minutes. I'm just like answering texts from the other girls. The other girl is like, where are we meeting? I'm like confirming 3 times everything. I call back my guy friend with the car. I'm like, hey, where are you? You didn't come. Like, what happened? And he's totally mad at me. He's like, I'm here. Where are you? I've been waiting for you. I've been here for 30 minutes or like, I don't know how many minutes he said. And I'm like, dude, like I'm in the corner. Like you did not come through. He's like, oh, I was already here when you called me. I'm like, here, where? Turns out he had gone. When he said that he was 5 minutes away, he was actually already there, and he had gone through the corner, like near a park where there's nowhere to go. So he was like parked, hiding behind another car. He was beyond any possibility of me seeing him, basically. It's like, you get there, I'm telling you I'm coming down. You get there before me because you didn't tell me where you were. And then why don't you just call me? Okay, so he was the one mad at me because I didn't go to where he was because he was expecting me to get out the entrance of the garage, which is what he thought was the only entrance. And that's fair enough. That's a bit of a misunderstanding, but like you don't need to be watching the entrance. You can just call me and say, I'm here just in case you've missed me for whatever reason, which is very possible if you've told me you're 5 minutes away, but you're actually already in the park, which is not even the entrance. Anyway, so finally I see him. He's not in a good mood. He's in a quite irritable mood. I am trying my best to be in a good mood. Honestly, I haven't slept and I'm also like a bit touchy. I just want to have peace. I just want to get to where we're going. We'll have a nice walk to the temple. It's gonna be a great day. So I'm like trying to keep it positive, keeping positive. We're driving and my friend that said the temple was near her house, she's like, okay, great. We're on the way now, finally. A bit late, I'm sorry. I felt so responsible because I'm the kind of person, I'm very reliable. And my friend that lives near this temple is like, okay, great, when you get here, pick me up because the temple is not nearby. It's a drive away. And I'm like, what do you mean it's a drive away? When we're going walking? Oh, no, you don't walk there. It's a drive away. Okay, this is news, but fine. I tell the guy who's driving, he's like, oh, I'm not gonna pick her up. I've already driven enough. I've already driven for an hour. And then I was waiting for you because you weren't in the right spot, whatever. I was just like, just so fed up with everyone. The other friend is already almost there. I'm like, okay, go to the other friend's address because apparently we have to pick her up because apparently we have to drive there in the end. And she's asking me, oh, what's the name of the temple? I'm like, I don't know, ask the other friend. And I give them both their respective phone numbers. I'm like, just talk to her because I'm dealing with this guy now. They never call each other or communicate. They just keep texting me, what's the name of the temple? I'm like, I don't know. I'm asking the other friend, like, what's the temple? Turns out it's not even a Buddhist temple. It's a Hindi temple. Anyway, it's just so many things. So I'm like a little bit irritated because it's just a completely different thing. So it turns out we're not going to a Buddhist temple. So I don't even know where we're going. And we're not even walking there. So my whole day is going to consist of me in a car, which I hate because I get the most horrible motion sickness. My friends start saying, have you eaten? And I'm like, yeah, I ate. Like I swallowed my breakfast so that I could be ready for our day out. He hadn't eaten. He hadn't had breakfast, so he was not ready. I'm like, do you want to stop for a coffee? I could have a coffee because actually I had rushed so much. I really would love a coffee personally also. So I didn't have a problem with that. He's like, yeah, let's stop. I'm tired of driving anyway. I really didn't want to waste any time because I knew that the others were waiting for us and we were already just so behind schedule. But I'm like, okay, we can stop at a Starbucks. I stop at a Starbucks. I pick up something there. He didn't want anything from there, so I look in the map. I'm like trying to find him a good place because he wanted food at that point. And there was no convincing him otherwise. He was just like, he's just being difficult. And so I'm like, look, there's this really nice bakery. We were in West Hampstead by then, so there's a lot of nice places there. I'm like, okay, I'll get a coffee from here, and then we go to the other place and you can get whatever you like. They have salads, they have stuff. I'm just trying to make it easy. Trying to make it easy, keep it cheerful, keep it like peaceful. I had such bad nausea, motion sickness by then because I just hate being in cars. Also, it started raining, so it wasn't ideal. Because usually, what I like about his car is it's a convertible. So usually we can get the roof down, and then I don't get motion sickness. So it's my favorite kind of car because it's the only car where I don't feel like I'm gonna throw up the whole time. But in this case, because it was raining, I couldn't even open the freaking window, so I was dying in there. Anyway, we get to this place, he orders his food, he takes forever. Then he looks at me, he's like, oh, I'm not even gonna get a coffee. I'm like, why don't you get a coffee? You said you wanted a coffee. I don't know what to do. I didn't even get a coffee, as if I had to convince him to get a coffee. Say, get a coffee. Oh, I don't want coffee. Get a matcha. I look at the menu, I know he likes matcha, so I'm like, why don't you get a matcha? I'm like I'm his mom. He's, oh, okay, I'll get a matcha. So I'm like, okay, let's go, let's go. And he's like, oh, can we walk to the other place? I'm like, no, we're far away, we need to get in the, also it's raining. He wanted to walk now, like have a little walk in the middle of the route. Anyway, he doesn't come with me, he stays in the cafe, he has his matcha. He didn't take that long, but still, it's like, come on, it's like we're in a bit of a rush here. So then we get out of there and he's like, oh, there's a museum around here. And I can't even believe it at that point. Like, what? So now he wants to go to a museum that he knows. It's not the right time for that. And yet, we just go round and round because he didn't actually know where the museum was. He just knew that it was in the area. He goes round and round in circles. We ask a few people. I ask a few people because I'm trying to make things like quicker. He doesn't ask anyone. He could just have spent the whole day just going around until he found it. In the end, we go to the museum. I'm like, look, it's going to be closed. It's Easter Monday. Of course, it was closed, but we got there after a while. We get out, we look at it, we get back in the car. I have to emphasize, I don't think that I was being argumentative at all this whole time because I was trying to keep it positive. Because I thought, I want to have a good day. I'm just going to go along with his whims. He's being difficult, but I'm not going to be the one to spoil this. I wasn't feeling great. He probably could tell because I get really nauseous. But I was just like, I wasn't being super bubbly, but I also wasn't being at all negative, like at all. I was actually just trying to encourage him. I was trying to find out what he wanted and give it to him, which honestly, it's a lot of energy. And women shouldn't be going through this shit. And honestly, the only reason why I did it, A, I didn't want to fail the others. I didn't want to keep them waiting more than they had to. B, this guy's in his 60s and I respect my elders. If he had been a guy my age, I would have been out of that car so fast from the beginning. Like right from the beginning, his behavior was really insolent, really shitty, real bad mood. I did not like it. I didn't feel respected and I felt like I was not having a good time. And I don't know why I'm making plans where I'm not having a good time. So anyway, we are at this point about 10 minutes away from my friend's house, finally. My other friend is texting me still. She's like, I'm waiting at the cafe. Can you pick me up from the cafe? The guy is like, there's no way I'm picking up anywhere for the cafe. I'm like, can you walk to the house? Oh, what is the address? I'm like, I sent you the address this morning. I sent her the address again. I'm everybody's secretary. And the other friend, she's taking a nap. I'm texting him. Can you text him because he's being impossible and I need someone, I need a bit of support here. I'm being kidnapped in this car. She also doesn't call him, which would have been really helpful because I think if somebody would have spoken to him on the phone, he would just, not sure where we were, my camera died. So we get out of the cafe. He's like, I need to put petrol, we're on reserve now because we're driving for so long. And my head was just going to explode. I'm like, can't we just wait until we're all together to put petrol in? Do we have enough for 10 minutes? He's like, how far are we? I keep looking at my phone, which I hate doing, because when you have motion sickness, the last thing you want to do is be looking at the phone the whole time. The whole time I had to be looking at the phone. So I'm checking the address 1,000 times. I'm like, we're 10 minutes away. Can we just wait until, you know, I don't want to make the others wait any longer. And so we finally get to my friend's address. He's all smiley, all lovely and delightful with my friend. Hey! And then he blurts out, Diana and I have been arguing like an old couple because we were late because she was in the wrong spot. And at that moment, I just like, psh. Okay, I have been so patient doing all the shit that you've put me through. And now I've been arguing like an old couple. Seriously? Okay. So now we get into my friend's house and they start having tea and cookies, which, fine, I can be spontaneous, but to be honest, I thought we were going to a Buddhist temple. Turns out we're driving to a Hindi temple. Turns out now we're having tea and cookies. And like most of the day is over. So now we're waiting for the other friend who's walking from the cafe. She gets there soon enough. We start driving to the other place. My friend, the guy, he's like, can somebody give me directions? And we're all just chatting to each other. I don't know the directions. So I just like, at that point, I'm like, my preoccupation for this trip is over. I don't want to keep looking at my phone. At that point, I was like crawled into a ball on the back of the car because it's one of these coupes where you don't really fit. And then nobody was giving him directions fast enough, so he just went to the wrong way. And then he's like, oh, I think there's a temple nearby. And my friends were like, but that's not the temple. He's like, oh, but it's closer, so let's just do that. I can do one little thing that I want to do. And we're like, what the fuck? He's just been so totally snappy and I'm bad with my friends as well. Like trying to be funny. Like, you know, when you're just like tricking somebody into thinking you're funny, but you're actually being a jerk. That's how it was the whole time. Just like, So we go through this other temple, which was not even a temple. It was just like whatever, a building. Of course, it was closed. You couldn't visit it. We turn around. We finally set off to the right temple, which was at least 15 minutes, another 15 minutes drive. Honestly, I just wanted to go home from the minute that I saw him that day because I just wasn't feeling a good vibe. So for me, it was all a little bit awkward with everyone. And after that ride and after him complaining about me to them, I was just like, just ready to leave. I didn't really want to be in his car or around him. I was very happy to see my friends, but for me, the day had been ruined. Also, I was really tired because I hadn't slept. And I had just enough energy to kind of do the plan. I didn't have enough energy to go through all of this abuse. Anyway, we get to the temple. He drops us off. We managed to put petrol all together because at first he had said, oh, I'll drop you off and then I will go alone to put petrol. It's just like just making everything so complicated. So we get to the temple. He drops us off and then he leaves. We don't know where. We wait for him for like 10 minutes at least outside because we don't want to be, it was just weird to just go in without him, but he wouldn't come. So after about 15 minutes, we just walk in because they were gonna close in an hour. He never says anything, he never appears. We're in doing our own thing. After like an hour or like half an hour, he shows up and he's like delightful as ever, just like chatting to us. I really did not feel like chatting to him. And then after the temple, I was so tired, and they're like, oh, you know, he's like, oh, there, you know, there's a Indian restaurant right here in the premises, which honestly would have been a great idea if I was in a good mood, but I was not in a good mood, and also I'm having my food situation right now, and Indian food is not what I'm having right now. It was just not my plan. It was not a good plan for me. It was too late. It was like, it was 8 p.m. I don't know what time it was. It was too late. I wanted to go home. I knew that I couldn't go home because I had come in his car and there was no transport. So great situation to be in. One of my girlfriends, she also really wanted to try the restaurant. She thought it was a great idea. So we all go to the restaurant. The other friend didn't give a fuck. She was like, fine, either way. She was the easier one, I guess, of everyone. And we go there, I don't eat, I just watch them eat for an hour. I have a chai tea, which was nice, but too milky. And then after a while, like, okay, finally we can get into the car again. I have the best time I can within reason. We get into his car, he starts acting like he's doing all of us a favor, being delightful. Oh, sure, I'll drive you home. I'm like, are you sure? Because it's not really on the way and you've already driven enough today. And I really appreciate it. Oh, no, of course I'll drive you home. Give me directions. I was just like, I was over it. I'm like, look, just drop me in the nearest station. My friend was going to the nearest station, so I just thought, even if I can't get home, I'll get somewhere closer to home, you know, all by myself. It's way better. Like, anything is better than being in this car with this super fake guy. Just like this dumb conversation. Oh, just tell me where to drop you. I'll drop you wherever is more convenient. I'm like, nowhere is convenient because there's no trains. So just drop me anywhere. Because if nowhere is convenient, the sooner I'm out of this car, the better, is what I was thinking. But I told him, honestly, like, nowhere is convenient. No, but I'll leave you at the station that takes you home. I'm like, again, like, there's no stations today. They're closed. It's not convenient. And honestly, I don't care. But he keeps in his mind the narrative. Oh, but I'm gonna take you wherever is convenient, or I'll drop you home. Of course I will drop you home. I'm like, look, it's out of the way if you wanna drop me home. Oh, is it out of the way? Say, what kind of stupid conversation are we having? You know where I live. You were so unhappy to go pick me up. You've been the fucking asshole the whole way here. Then just making my life, and now you wanna drop me, or like say, I'm not gonna spend another hour and a half arguing with this guy about whether he's gonna drop me home or not. Like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to be out of the car. So I get out of the car. Luckily for me, the trains had started running. You never know with these trains. Sometimes they tell you they're not running, and for some miracle they are. Usually it's the other way around. They tell you they're running and then they're not running, and then you're stranded in the middle of nowhere. I was super lucky. So I got the train, which took me about 5 minutes away. 20 minutes. So this train left me 20 minutes away from my place, walking. So I thought, great, I'll just go walking 20 minutes. Honestly, it's the least of my preoccupations. Even if it's dark and like, it's not ideal, but it's better than being in the car. And I was so happy. I was out of this whole nightmarish day. I went home. I cried in the hot shower. Then I ate my food, healthy food that I had made at home, because I was sure that I would be home for dinner, because it was a day plan initially. This just spiraled completely out of control. And I promised to myself that I'm not gonna get into this situation ever again. I'm never gonna go anywhere. I realize this is a bit unrealistic, because if you can never get a car anywhere, you can't go to many places, but at the same time, I just can't be in that situation again. So what do you guys think? That was a lot of information, a lot of very detailed complaining. So this is my expert complaining video. As you can clearly see, I'm a complaining expert, and I find many of my friends very irritating. Oh well, nobody's perfect. But in this case, I really don't think I did anything wrong other than trying to bring peace, and maybe I shouldn't have. And I really don't like that women are the ones supposed to make everybody happy and agreeable and take care of everything. It's just like, you know, it's the invisible labor. For me, this was a violation of my will. That's how I see it. It was a completely abusive situation. I think he completely took advantage of the situation, because I had no way out. And for a 60-something guy to do that, it's even worse. You know, what kind of dishonorable person are you? And then looking back, it's like, I met this guy through another friend, and I thought he was nice because he's a good artist. But actually, he's never introduced me to any of his friends. Every time, he hasn't really invited me to that many things. I have invited him to so many things. Like, every time I have seen a party or an event, a person that I found could be useful to his career or his life, I have tried, because that's what I do. I like putting people together, and I like just bringing life into people's lives. Fun, life, vibrancy. I think it's important to support other artists. I make a really big point on that in my career, in my work too. So I have done my best. He hasn't done shit. He is now invited to all of my friends' events always. He hasn't given me anything. He can't even stick to a plan that he himself suggested. He spent the whole time complaining about a plan that was not my idea in the first place. And I just don't want people like that around me. And I'm just deciding, you know what? Why am I agreeing to things that are not fun? Like, this is not my job. Nobody's paying me to do this. Why do I have to be with people who ask things from me that I can't give them, who just make me feel disrespected, unappreciated? They make me weak instead of making me safe. They make me feel exposed and just like I can't relax and I can't decide anything. Basically, I had no opinion on what was done that day. Nothing of what I wanted to do happened. It's just, what's even the point? This was supposed to be a nice plan with my friends. We didn't go to the Buddhist temple that I wanted. We didn't take a walk to that temple. I didn't have a peaceful drive there. I couldn't even eat. I don't know. I just like don't know what's the answer, because honestly, it's really hard to find friends that truly understand you. But I did want to share this because maybe someone else is in this situation, or maybe you'll think I'm just a total circus freak, which is also very possible. But I don't think, I'm very respectful of other people's needs, and if someone tells me that I consider people's opinions at least and people's needs, and if someone, I used to hide a lot of my weaknesses and problems and issues. I don't anymore. I'm very vocal now. People don't give a fuck. They don't. You tell them something, it just goes right out the other ear. So never be afraid to tell people what's wrong with you, because they don't care. I thought my mic was out for a second there. They don't care. They don't even remember. They won't ever take it into consideration. Can't eat. Doesn't matter. Why aren't you eating 50 times? Can't walk. Doesn't matter. Why are you being so difficult? Like, can't drive. Oh, you're using me as a driver. Did you want to come to this thing or not? Because if you don't, like, I didn't need to go to this thing, I could have just stayed at home or met someone else and done something else. This was just a plan that was put out there on the table, and everybody said that they wanted to do it. Not my responsibility, not even my plan, really. I didn't even know where we were going. My therapist has recommended that in these cases, and I think she's very wise, she thinks that from the beginning, before building up any resentment or anger, because my problem is anger, as you can see, I bottle it up. And it's the worst thing you can do, because that creates illness and it's bad. But I just didn't know what to do, because as I was saying at the beginning, I am usually pretty good at confronting, like after many years of working on it, I'm now usually pretty good at confronting people when they are being manipulative and cruel to me. But in this case, because there were other people involved and I really wanted to make it work, and I had, kind of given my word that this was happening, and we all needed this car, so we all depended on him. I felt like I couldn't really do anything, and also he's so much older than me. When people are so much older than me, I tend to be just respectful. I think that's normal, right? You just, okay, like just not even, don't answer badly to someone that's older than you. I don't know what's the word in English, but in basically replying in an insolent way, you don't do that to people older than you in my culture. So I didn't. So then to be blamed for doing that is kind of gaslighting. I hate to bring up that word. Let's just call it manipulative. He's the kind of person that drives you insane, basically. And I've realized that I think the only reason that he ever became my friend is because I'm pretty, or he thinks that I am. And he finds me very entertaining when I am entertaining. And I hate that's the worst situation of all, because then you have to be entertaining the whole time. Like, I can see that he expects me to be the one to provide everything. Like, he was hungry, he needed me to bring up a solution for that. Like, he came up with so many problems, and I had to be the one to, because he would just nag and nag and nag and complain until I was like, do you want to do this? But like making me be the one to suggest it. It's just so freaking, what's the word for that? It's just so crappy behavior, just rotten, just, yeah, sour. I don't know. My therapist says that from the beginning I should have very politely confronted him in the way, like telling him my reasoning for wanting to get there. Like, I really appreciate that you're taking us here, but I don't agree with the way that you're behaving. I don't like this bad vibe. I should have just said that. I just really thought that it would be over, because he hasn't been like that with me before. I thought, you know, it's a one-time thing. We've had a bit of a tiff. It'll get better as the trip progresses. He will be, you know, nicer. Yeah, he was never nicer. He was just, I guess he was having a bad day too. I was having a bad day and I didn't take it against anyone. The temple was nice, but it was literally a museum. And honestly, the last thing I wanted to do after all of this is go to a museum and like read and be taught things about yoga, which I know off by heart. Half of them I know off by heart, half of them I will never understand, because it's just literally a list of names. So many gods, so many stories. It's not really that entertaining, honestly. It's fine, like, it was beautiful. The room was beautiful, I enjoyed that bit. But I could have really done with some Buddhist prayer, which is what I was really going for. I guess that will be an adventure for another time. As for what I am gonna do, my therapist is advising me to write to him and say something, but I honestly don't even know what to say. I just don't really want to speak to this person. They made life so difficult for me. I feel just resentment. It's a problem because I don't like resentment, but that's what I feel. As I said in the beginning, my mom said that I was being too sensitive. And I am sensitive, but I don't think I was being too sensitive. I just think he angered me and it was unfair and I didn't deserve that. So that's what I think. Thanks for listening. I hope you like this new complaining series. Let's be self-aware about what we're doing. We are full on complaining. Okay, bye.